Aloha everyone, this is Chesapeake Movie Thoughts, and today I am doing a special video, doing something a little bit different today, because today is my birthday. So I thought about what I wanted to do for my birthday on the show, and I decided that I would I'd do kind of an unboxing. What I decided I would do is use the Disney movie rewards points. When you buy Disney movies on DVD or Blu-ray, many of them will offer you rewards points if you cash in the code. You punch in the code online, and then that gives you a certain amount of points, and you collect enough points, you can cash it in on their website, and they'll send you for free rewards items, and they have a variety of different categories you can choose from. Me, since I'm a movie collector, I'm the big movie guy, I always just choose to get more DVDs and Blu-rays. Now, Disney has an interesting offer on their movie rewards site. They have a lot of movies that you can just pick what you want. If you have enough points, you can get them. But they also have, they offer, for a small amount of points, a mystery DVD. So they will send you something completely random. Well, I don't know if it's completely random. It's random to me. I don't know if they have a system for how they do it. But they'll send you something, and you won't have any clue what it is. It costs like 350 points. And you get a free DVD, you just don't know what it is. So I am going to be unboxing this. Actually came in today. I actually just got this in time. I'm going to be unboxing this like it's going to be like opening a birthday present. I have no idea what... It's going to be a Disney movie. I have no idea which Disney movie it is. So, live on camera, we'll get to see together what it is. So, I guess without further ado, I should get to opening it up. Let's see here. Okay. What is it? Is it here? Okay. Aha! Alright. The movie is Disney's Hercules, which, unfortunately, is already a part of my collection. I guess that is the danger when you cash these rewards. I've done it before and gotten something I didn't have, but this time I did get something I already had. Good movie, though. Hercules is part of the Disney Renaissance. All of those movies that came out in the Disney Renaissance were great. This was like the second half of the Renaissance. The first half was kind of, most people consider that like it gradually building up to its pinnacle, and then like the second half, they're still good, but they're on a downslope until they get to the beginning of their CG era. You get like the last 2D animated film before they tried to revive it with Princess and the Frog, which was Home on the Range, which did not go over very well. It's not very well remembered. And then their first CG animated film was Chicken Little, also not one of their more popular favorites. So yeah, they had a slump there, but as they were coming towards the slump, they had the Disney Renaissance. So that's beginning in 1989. Most people credit it with The Little Mermaid starting that. I think you can see like at least a prologue to the Disney Renaissance in 1988's Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Now that wasn't entirely animated, so it doesn't entirely count. But you could see just sort of their minds were moving towards that traditional Disney point of view, that the traditional Disney way of approaching animation that was making a comeback, and I think you can see kind of shades of that in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and then it comes back in full force with The Little Mermaid. And then after the Little Mermaid, well, you get one that is technically part of the Renaissance, but most people overlook it, which is the Rescuers Down Under, which was a sequel to The Rescuers, which was another one that came out kind of during a slump for Disney. It's got its fans, definitely, and I won't say any of Disney's animated films aren't good, but it is one of the lesser ones. Although it does have Bob Newhart, which I like a lot. I do think The Rescuers Down Under was the better of the two Rescuers films, and there's some beautiful animation. you're watching just for the animation, The Rescuers Down There is definitely worth watching. As far as story goes, it's a kind of ho-hum, but yeah, like I said, it's not. There's nothing really bad coming out of Walt Disney feature animation, particularly in the Renaissance. And then that's followed by Beauty and the Beast, which everybody knows how popular that is. Was like the first animated film to be nominated for Best Picture Oscar, and deservedly so. And then we get Aladdin, and then The Lion King, which everybody went nuts for. It was the way Frozen is now. That's how Lion King was in the mid-90s. Now, from that point on, that was where people kind of say it reached its peak with The Lion King. And then after that, you got Pocahontas. I particularly like Pocahontas. I like the art style, the music. I thought it was very well done, but it's not. It doesn't get quite the high praise that that first half of the '90s films got, from Little Mermaid to The Lion King, and then from there you get A Hunchback of Notre Dame, which, if you haven't seen that one, that is very interesting. It's very much a departure for Disney in some ways. In other ways, they put some of their Disney-isms in it, but it is something maybe a little bit darker. In some respects, a lot of people appreciate it for that reason. And then you get Hercules, this one. Hercules was Superman. The story was the story of Superman. I didn't realize it at first, but after rewatching it a few times, I realized that this is the same story as Richard Donner's Superman. It's just a little bit of Superman 2 thrown in with it. It's you've got your superpowered being who is the child, a baby of that was that born into a family of superpowered beings, but through some tragedy gets taken away from his home and as a baby and sent back to Earth and adopted by a couple of farmers who raise him, and then he eventually goes off to find a temple where a representation of his birth father tells him what he's all about and what his destiny is, and then he goes to trains for a while, and then goes to the big city where he meets the love of his life, who's like a feisty city girl, and then he encounters the villain, and the villain is Hades in Hercules. And I kind of see Hades as kind of embodying the characteristics of both Lex Luthor and Zod, because he is a trickster, a fast-talking con man on one hand, but he's also the old enemy of Hercules' father, who has godlike powers of his own. So he's kind of both, like Lex Luthor and Zod. So but it parallels pretty close, because what he wants is to take over Olympus, and he's approaching it like it's a real estate thing. Like, he wants the real estate. So it's kind of the same thing. And then it ends with the spoiler, I guess. It ends with Hercules performing his greatest feat of superhuman strength to date, which ends up bringing the love of his life back to life, which it really mirrors the ending of the original Superman. I mean, this is Disney's animated version of Superman disguised as a Greek myth. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. This one does not take itself very seriously at all. It's a lot of just go with it, just have fun with it. A lot of anachronisms. A lot of just like whatever silly things popped into their head as for what they could do with this concept. They did, and I really appreciate it. I think it's a fantastic movie, even if it is not like the pinnacle of the Disney Renaissance. And then I'll finish off the listing of the Renaissance films that goes from there to Mulan. Mulan, interesting enough, was the first film to be animated entirely in Florida. The Florida studio had been doing bits and pieces of the animated films, like they would contribute like a few minutes of footage, maybe up to 20 minutes of footage from some of the previous animated films, but Mulan was done entirely in what was then called the Disney MGM Studios in Florida, in the theme park. So I found that pretty interesting. And Mulan, I don't think was that popular when she came out. I think she's become more popular in the marketing that's come out since then. Was marketed as a Disney princess, even though she is in no way a princess in her own movie. But she was joined the ranks of the Disney princesses in their official marketing capacity. They're their official canon of marketable Disney princesses. And I think that she ended up, just the way Disney has marketed her, becoming more popular after, years after her film came out. And then that's followed by Tarzan, Disney's Tarzan, which is a really good take on the Tarzan. Well, it's a pretty, it's a fairly serious film. It's got its, humorous moments, but, it gets maybe a little bit darker, maybe not as dark as The Hunchback of Notre Dame, but, yeah, it's worth checking out. And then, I guess it's debatable as to whether this counts as part of the Renaissance, but I think some people count the, Fantasia 2000 as the close of the Disney Renaissance. And, Fantasia 2000 is a continuation of the concept of Fantasia. It's animation set to classical music, and I think they're pretty much, most of what they did is pretty much worthy of the name Fantasia, I think. There are, some segments which are like less classic than others, but, I was really happy to see like Donald Duck get his Sorcerer's Apprentice moment in Noah's Ark in that, and the Firebird scene at the end. There's some incredible animation going on in that. And I personally happen to like the just the comedic break they do with just a short segment on from Carnival of the Animals where they do a yo-yoing flamenco. And I got tickled by that. I think that's a lot of people's least favorite segment in the film, but I was tickled with it. All of these films, if you're interested in animation at all, this is some of Disney's best. And even where even the ones that are not at the pinnacle, like I said, The Rescuers Down Under, is not like the pinnacle of their storytelling, but there's some incredible animation in there. With there's some scenes right at the beginning involving a golden eagle, which is just incredible. And if you have any interest in animation, particularly hand-drawn 2D animation, and you want to see what it's all about and why some people like me think that it's really a shame that that hasn't continued now, because it's not the same thing as computer animated films are beautiful in their own right, but it's a different art form. It's a completely different art form, and it's sad to see that the art form of the traditional hand-drawn animated film has kind of died out. I imagine it's going to be forever. Sooner or later, nostalgia at least is going to, cause some people to demand it, and I think it will eventually come back. But it's its own art form. It's different from computer animation, and it's some incredibly beautiful things. And it's amazing to think that it's just it all just started with pencil and paper. There's a lot of things they do to it, but afterwards, they have to photograph it, and they have to clean it up, and they have to paint the backgrounds, and there's a lot of things to process. But you can get the bare bones of the movie just with pencil and paper, and there's something kind of just amazing about that. But they don't really do that these days. But I think eventually it'll come back. Okay, well, anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and that's a wrap.